Hello everybody, welcome back to the table. So I thought what I would do is go ahead and show you where I'm at playing through. I found the Guards Counterattack. So this was off of the Multi-Man publishing website. They had like a classic scenarios and Guards Counterattack is there, which is great because that's the first one I played just using basic squad leader rules, and then this is updated to account for Advanced Squad Leader and the counters that come in the new Beyond Valor. So, perfect. And I've gone ahead and, punched out some Desperation morale markers. I got a melee here ready to go. Got a fight happening. I punched out some units. So I had enough to do, and then there's a couple extra from punching out on the rows. I have to admit, just a couple of problems here. First problem I had was I lost a light machine gun. I don't know what happened. I grabbed it, I went to clip the corners, and I dropped it because I'm old and clumsy, and I heard it hit the ground, and then I couldn't find it. It like hit the carpet and whoosh, magician gone. So I already have one casualty from the game, and that was a German light machine gun. It really bummed me out. So, luckily there's a lot of light machine guns, and I'm hoping there's not a scenario that calls for every single light machine gun, and then I'll be down. The only other problem I had, and now that I'm aware of it, it's not too bad, but one of these counter sheets here was what I hate. It's when you, like, they're punched, but they're not really punched all the way through, and so the paper backing is not cut enough, and so when you try to separate them, it tears some of the backing on the counter. It's kind of a pain. It's not that many. I had to use an X-Acto knife then to start cutting them out. A lot of the other stuff punches out really nice. It's just this counter sheet right here, number 1, that I struggled with. Everything else was punched pretty good, but I had to take extra time and try to cut these counters, the ones I needed, and it was like, well, whatever. But it's only been my two biggest complaints has just been that, really. And losing the machine gun's a me fault, not a game fault. Alright, so here we are in the middle. I played a turn already, and then I was in the middle of a turn here. It's the German phase of turn 1, actually, so still turn 1. My daughter came and got me for dinner, and I thought when I come back, I said, why don't I just go ahead and kind of film where I'm at. So remember, this is using advanced squad leader components, but I'm just using basic squad leader rules. And now I did read some comments, so thank you all for commenting on my unboxing game of the Beyond Valor. And a lot of folks say, yeah, just go get a starter kit. Well, I think what I'll do, because I've got Beyond Valor, is I'll just probably will at some point download and print out the rules and get those spiral bound, just like I did here. So the starter kit number 4 rules are on Multi-Man Publishing, and so that would cover infantry, the guns, vehicles, and I think someone pointed out that the rules at that point are not much more than what the squad leader rules are, but then you're learning the advanced. So I'll probably do that. I still want to learn squad leader because I am finding differences, quite a bit of differences, because that's what my buddy likes and that's what he's familiar with. So I'm more than happy to keep playing just squad leader until I'm ready to kind of move up to advanced squad leader. Now, as I'm playing, there's some things I'm running into that I'm not sure if my buddy and I are. The way we play, we're playing the game having fun. The thing I couldn't find was when you have a support weapon attached to a squad, and let's say that squad breaks, but I have other squads in the stack. Can other squads fire the weapon? I think the way my buddy and I played was if there's a stack of troops and there's enough squads to fire those weapons, they can fire the weapon. So like here I have a light machine gun, and the person I had attached to it, he did get broke, And so when I did some firing, I didn't fire the light machine gun because I've been playing quite a few other games like you know, lock and load tactical, things like that. And typically, if it's attached to a squad, you'd have to, in like the rally phase, you would have to voluntarily drop the weapon and let someone else pick it up. But in just the basic squad leader rules, I didn't really see anything that said you had to do that. It's almost like how my friend and I play. As long as there's a squad that could use it, they're using it. So I'm not really sure what to do with that, just from a squad leader standpoint. Can anybody use a support weapon that's in that stack, you know? So the squad gets banged up and some guy from another squad will run over and grab it. So I thought about just reassigning weapons during the rally phase, and I'm not sure if that is correct or how important that is. So, you know, if your only advice is saying, well, in advanced squad leader, this is how we do it, fine. Let me know. Tell me how you might resolve, units that get broke that are carrying a support weapon when there's another squad in the hex with them that could use it. All right, so here we did the prep. Well, I did rally the prep. I didn't move the Germans. The defensive fire phase, I think I did complete, which is why I have a broke person here. And I think, other than knocking the stacks over, oh, know what? We are actually, well, this guy's got his defense. I must have just started with defensive fire. Okay, I think I must have just started with defensive fire, because I noticed this guy has, this is a Russian stack, and I put it says final fire. I'm sure that's an advanced squad leader thing, but right underneath it, it says DFH, so I'm thinking that's defensive fire phase, DFPH. So I'm just using that here to mark that, remind me that they fired. I wish they had a move marker too, so I know I could mark which units moved. That way, the defensive fire phase, or when you know who can do in advance. Those that moved at half. Those that moved can fire at half of their firepower. But I have a terrible time remembering sometimes who that was. And now that I think about it, I think that's why some people say they turn, like they rotate the stack, and they know that stack moved. Okay, great. I think I just answered my own question. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So this unit, I can have them shoot, but it is long range for them. And because this is a stack of 6, 2, 8s, so they could shoot up to 4, but half firepower. Now, it is defensive fire phase, so they would shoot at full strength, but then half because of the distance. Now, I was looking for how to treat half. The book just says you divide it by 2, but I didn't see where it says if you round or not. So this is a total of 18. And half of that is 9. So that's not a problem. But like if there's a half, like this here, if they were, let's say it was their turn, and then they were going to do advancing fire, then it's half firepower from that. So it'd be like 9 for range, and then half of 9 for the advance would be 4.5. Do you round that? I just kept it at 4.5. Because even if I rounded it to 5, there's no 5. And if I just round it to 4, there's a 4 column. So either one of those is on the 4 column. So I think the halves kind of wash themselves out. So anyway, this stack here is going to be a 9 shooting into this area here, which is a stone building. So that has a 3 defense. Their leader has a 2. So I'm on the 9 column with a +1. Rolled in a... Oh, you can't see the dice rolls. I need to find a spot to put this. What if I put it like there? Yeah, that mostly works. Well, anyway, they rolled an 11. They're not hitting anything in that stone building. So I'm going to stick a final fire on them to remind me that I did shoot with them. These two are going to combine. They're within 2, so they're going to be full. and each of them is also 18. So those two groups form a fire group, and that's 36. So they can roll really crappy and still get good results. But they're firing into a stone building. They don't have a leader in there at all. So, and I think if they do a fire group, they don't get to apply the leader bonus anyway. So they're just going to fire at a straight dice roll. Oh, they rolled pretty good. So that's an 8 plus 3. Well, that's 11. If I go across here, it's still a morale with a 2 penalty. So that's actually really good for them. What's under here? Oh, we already have a bunch of wounded people in here. Uh-oh. That's very bad. And some weapons there. Alright, well I got a group here that hasn't had a problem yet. So they're going to go with a 7 and with a 2. So, well, subtract 2. They rolled a 7 minus, they have a 2 penalty to their morale, so they would have needed a 5. I did forget here on this group, I must have forgot that I had some wounded people in here, because you're supposed to take that desperation morale off after the rally phase. So either I forgot that they had some wounded people, or I just forgot to remove the desperation morale marker. Technically, I guess that would go on them now, because they just got shot. So I will flip him, and I guess all of these will need to make a check, and I think you still check your leader first. There's a leader in here. Oh yeah, this is probably a bad place for that stack to be. So he just checked. And if I remember right, it's one of those things I should probably pause the camera. But if you fail the morale check again, let's see, looking under 14, oh, that's the rallying. Let's see, there is Fire Combat Principles. One of these does talk about if you get hit again. Where was it? Oh, just broken units. Alright, they still have the same movement factors. Broken units automatically seek cover. We got that. Routing a unit. Routing a unit. Provided the above. A routed unit. We got that. So that's section 13. That's if they get routed. Okay, so it does say broken units abandon all support weapons they may have been carrying before routing or prior to routing. Okay, so if they rout, they would drop a weapon. Got that. So here we go. Now 14, which is rallying of broken units. Any unit attempted to rally which has been fired on by one or more gets the desperation morale. There's no penalty for units which attempt to rally and fail. But there was something in here that said, like, if a leader rolls like 2 6s when they are trying to rally, that they die. I'm trying to find that. That's like one of those things where, like, I swear I remember reading that it says a leader may not apply his leadership. Let's see, units pass their morale. So like here under morale, so units which pass their morale check are unharmed. Those which fail a morale check are immediately inverted and classified as broken units. A broken unit that fails its morale check is removed from the game. Okay, and then here's the leader. Any leader, whether previously broken, failing his morale check, or killed, seriously wounded by a sniper. Okay, so if a leader fails his morale check or killed, seriously wounded by a sniper, causes all the units stacked with him in the hex to suffer a second morale check. This occurs immediately after the combat check and is a normal morale check regardless of the strength of the morale check which broke the leader. No dice modifiers other than that from an additional unbroken leader. Okay, so we're reading that. But where's the thing about 2 6s? Yeah, I'm not seeing it now. Alright, well, you all are much better at the rules than I do. So if you know about a double 6 rule, if you roll 2 6s, that your leader bounces, that would be good to know. Okay, so we're making a morale check. So this guy made a morale check. Now, this leader here, he's got a 9, but we're on a -2. So he's got to roll 7, which he does. So, I mean, you know, clearly he still stays broken. It's just they got shot at again. So luckily they don't have to make a second roll for him dying. But it says if they fail a second morale check, they're going to die. So with that -2, they are all at 5. So that guy fails and the other guy fails. So these two guys, I think, failed. They're dead. So I'm just going to remove them, and then we're left with that. And that's how I'm reading it. And then they got a final. They did a group fire. Devastating group fire. You have no targets at for your defensive fire. You can shoot down into this area. Now, the Germans did on this side, though. They did pretty good. I had a couple stacks in here that everything here is broken. I believe that when we do the melee, all of this is dead because those are all broken. And I'm going to look at the melee because it says you do the melee check, you know, the close combat at the end of the turn. So after the Germans moved in, I don't remember seeing it that you automatically capture them if they're all routed. I think I'm going to capture them here on this close combat phase. And at some point, I'm going to have to move in and capture these folks because they're broken with no leaders. So the German, we're getting this side of the board, and the Russians, I think, are going to come over here and take this side. But that leaves me here with shooting. This has 3 units with 4 firepower each, so that's 12. So they're going to roll on the 12 column in a stone building, so that's -3, or +3 to their roll. That's a 12, and 12 on a 12 is nothing. So yeah, these dice I'm using roll really high. I'll let my buddy use those when we play again. Alright, and he can't see anything. So that would be the defensive fire phase. Then we can advance. Now at some point here, I printed this off of Board Game Geek. It's kind of cool. It gives me little reminders. So after the defensive fire phase, we lose all track markers. Now I do have to admit that there are some things that I am seeing that I think I would appreciate from advanced squad leader. So with squad leader, I'm sure I'm not telling you things you don't know. These are things that I'm learning and trying to submit. You have track markers. And this is something I thought was kind of wonky. So, you know, if I move across a street and move into a building, and then when my opponent does defensive fire, I got to move that stack back to the open road where the enemy could shoot at it. And it's like, why don't I just shoot them when they're in the open? It says in the rules that with vehicles, you resolve that shot immediately. And I'm thinking, why don't we just do that with infantry? And I think you can with advanced squad leader. But here, I would have to put like a little marker to remind myself where my opponent moved and then back them up. Well, the advanced squad leader doesn't have that. It does not have the track marker. The only thing that even looks close to a bullseye for tracking, I think these are artillery, have something to do with artillery. So I didn't want to multi-purpose those because, you know, I just was hoping for just a normal tracking marker, but I don't think that's a advanced squad leader thing. So after defensive fire, we get rid of the track markers. Then it's now time for advancing fire, which would be, here's the reminder, the active player's unbroken units that move this turn may now fire. I didn't move them this segment. They're where they have been. So after advancing fire, it says you remove the prep fire markers. Okay. Understood. Wherever you came from. Prep fire. Now, these defensive fire phase markers I put up, that's not a part of squad leader either. So I probably could take those off too, since nobody is going to do any more defensive firing at this point out. So I can take those off. I just like those because it reminds me who did something. Like I said, I wish they had this unit moved to remind me who could do an advanced fire. So we get rid of the prep fire markers. Then I check routing. This Soviet group right here, this is the only one that I need to do a routing because they're adjacent here to this group. So we're just going to move them. Boop. So they're done. They have successfully routed into protection away from the Germans. Then you have the advanced phase. The active player's unbroken units may now move into an adjacent hex regardless of terrain or their prior action. This is the only time a unit may move into a hex occupied by an enemy unit. Which, you know what? That means during the move phase, I could not have moved in. Oh, well, I just answered my own question to that problem. So I think these guys were here in the building originally. So with their leader, they can move 6. They have no support weapon. Yeah, they do. They got a heavy machine gun. Oh, okay. So the heavy machine gun said it had 4 portage points, and they can move 4. So my understanding is you only got to worry about portage points when you go higher than their 4 movement points. Like if it had 5 portage points, they'd only have 3 movement points to play with. So this particular gun, they can run with it. So I moved 1, 2, 3. You get bonus for moving on the street. So I figured they had enough movement points to get here. So they should not have been able to move into that hex. So I'd have to stop here on the outside. But luckily, again, because they're already broken from a lot of shooting I did at them, now here in the advanced phase, I move in. Okay, I fixed that problem. That looks legitimate now. Then we can do close combat. And again, my understanding is because these are all broken, they all die. So they're done. And we take that hex. And then that's all the melee I had. Oh, now this group, because they got shot at, so I don't forget, I got to put another desperation morale on them. I probably, in the route phase, should actually have them retreat out. Otherwise, they're going to get shot at again and again and again until they get wiped out. So I probably should have had them route during the route phase, did a voluntary route, and moved to cover. I should have done that. I didn't say I was good at tactics. I'm just, throwing some dice here, playing a game. Alright, so I'm going to advance my turn marker. It is now going to be turn 2, Russians for the counterattack. So start with prep fire. Well, not prep fire, sorry, rally phase. So we've got these folks here, and they're still under desperation morale, and it's just 2 of them now. They're surrounded by all their dead comrades' bodies. So we have the squad leader there. He's got a 5 because it's 4, but it's a 9 with the 4, so he's got to roll a 5 or less. Oops, I didn't mean to drop that on the map. Luckily, I didn't knock a bunch of stuff over. Big counter stacks, little tiny counters, big stacks, and he rolls a 4 miraculously. He's ready to fight. And now he's got a -1. So this is only a 3 penalty. So that squad, they need to roll a 4 or less as well. Come on, you can do it. No, you can't. Nope. So they're done. And I don't see any white markers here. So that's a big kill stack. Anybody here? Nobody shot at them. Haha. So I eliminated some units that could shoot at them, and then this guy couldn't shoot. So we get to rally you normally, but the leader doesn't have any kind of modifier. So he's going to roll for a 7. He is rallied. So we are back in fighting spirit. Woohoo! And I am knocking these. I need better tweezers, apparently. Time to hit Amazon and get some tweezers. And these guys have no leader, and they have no self-rally option. So rally is done. So now it becomes the Russian prep fire. Well, I probably should have moved. Oh no, it's somebody else. It's their turn. Well, they're out in the open. That's bad. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. So they're going to go ahead. They're going to go ahead and see if they can suppress this hex a little bit, because now that they're wide out in the open, that's not necessarily a good spot. Or they're going to move to the woods, maybe. I think I was trying to flank these guys, but see, they're just sitting in the open. So I tell you what, probably to be safe, we're going to move them. So I'm not going to fire with them. They are going to shoot here. So they have, yeah, 3 6s. Ooh, it's at double range again, right? So normally it'd be 18, but it's on a 9. Stone building is 3, but the leader is 2. So I'm going to add 1. So they roll a total of 7 on a 9. And I look here, 8 column. It's a morale with a 1. So that, well, yeah, this poor squad is getting beat up. So the leader is going to make a check here on an 8 because it's a 1 penalty. He makes it. And then this guy will make a morale check with a -1. But then the squad leader has a -1, so it's just a 7 he needs, and he passes. Woo! They're taking a beating, but they are surviving. And then he gets that desperation morale because they just took fire again. And I'm going to stick a prep fire on you. And I think these guys will probably finish it off. They're going to fire as a group. They're 36 because it's 18 in that stack, 18 in that stack. They are 2 hexes away. So this is like just giving them the kill. But they have to add 3 to the roll because they're in a stone building. Ooh, well, 13. 13. There is a 13. Go all the way across. And it's a morale 1. There is still a morale check. Alright. Well, we are going to roll for the leader. So that's an 8 for him. And he rolls a 6. Okay, now that's not a rally check or something. That's his being shot at check. So I don't think he dies on the double 6s. But because he broke, it says this poor guy is going to have to make 2 morale checks. 1 with the modifier and 1 without. So he's rolling on a 6, which he passes. Now he's got to make a 7 because his leader just went down again. And he passes that as well. Wow. This squad is banged up bad, but they are holding on. And then these 2 guys shoot. Pretty amazing heroics going on there. Then we have no shooting. They can shoot here, but I think I was trying to have these guys move south. They could probably, and when it's their advanced phase, I could probably move them around a bit. So what we'll do is maybe not prep fire with them. Okay, we won't prep fire. So then we go to movement phase. Now the thing is, I don't know if I want to move necessarily adjacent to this guy, but maybe I do. Yeah, I do. So let's say I go here. I could go 2 movement points here. Yes, I think that's what I want to do. Maybe. Oh, I mean, I'm trying to push and fight and get these buildings. So go big or go home. So what we'll do instead is, but then we got to deal with boy, I'm just trying to think about, you know, the adjacent, and then like you double the firepower for being adjacent. It's like really bad to be adjacent and if you can't move. So I'd have to like move, suffer being shot at, and then we could advance in to do some close quarter combat. So what we'll do here is we'll go 1, 2 movement points, 1, 2 movement point. I'm going to move the stack here. Go big or go home. So we're going to rotate this. So that reminds me, they moved. So they can do advancing fire. If they survive being shot at, then they can do advancing. Because there is a bonus. The movement cost. There's a shooting. Yeah, point blank into an adjacent hex, double the firepower. Woo! Not good. Okay, so that means they moved. I could do the same thing here, but that's a really big stack we got to whittle down. So I don't want to move right next to them. And we're going to move to this building. Here, through the woods. Woods are 2 movement factors, and then a building is another there. So if they get shot at, it's the, what does the woods give? Woods give, what kind of concealment here? Woods give +1, wood building. So if I was tracking, I'll just stick a, here, I'll just put this marker. So if I'm going to shoot at them in my defensive fire, I'll get them when they're in the woods. It's 1 less cover point. So you moved, and that's it. Then we go to defensive fire phase. We'll start here. This squad or stack is going to open up. So they've got the heavy machine gun. They moved a machine gun in, so they're going to light it up. Now, I'm not going to worry about penetration because it's inside the building, so it's just shooting into the next room. So that's 7. And then they don't get to use their inherent firepower because this heavy machine gun has a 7 firepower. Now there's another number here on a box which is not used in basic squad leader, so I don't even know what that means. So I'll just leave it alone. But I don't see a break number on here. So according to this, I guess that will never break. Some of these do, I did look, some of these weapons do have a break number, really small, but that one doesn't. At least I thought I saw a break number on one of these before, but I don't see the break number now. Huh. But unless that, I don't know. No break number, so we're lucky there. So they're going to fire with a 7 firepower, and they get a -1 on the roll. So it's a stone building, so that's -3, -1 for the leader, so it's a +2 to this die roll on the 6th column. So 6, add 2 to that, that's a total of 9. Yeah, that does nothing. So they opened up with that heavy machine gun, trying to rip through the building and take some people out, but nothing happened. So I'm going to give them their defensive fire phase marker. And then this stack is going to shoot at them when they were in the woods. So they only get a cover bonus of 1. So what do we have in this stack? We have quite a few things. There's a light machine gun, 2 light machine guns. So that's a 3 and a 4, that's 7. A 3 and a 4, that's 14. Plus 4 is an 8. Alright, so they're 18. And they're going to add 1 to the roll, but the leader has a -2. So they're going to end up with subtracting 1 from this roll. And there's no 18 column, so they're on the 16 column. Oh, that's 10 on a 16 column. Oh, thank goodness we had that -1. That is a morale check. But yeah, that was a crappy roll, but at least they forced a morale check. Okay, well, since you guys had moved, their morales are 8. So I'm just going to roll this 3 times and see what we get. That's a pass. That's a pass. And that's a fail. So one of those guys broke back here. He broke, and we left his butt. We left his sorry butt. And you get defensive fire. Okay, now defensive fire, we can shoot at anybody we want. We're going to shoot here at this stack, and we're going to try and wipe those guys out. So what do we got here? It's a light machine gun of 3 with a 4, so that's 7. They have a 3, so that's 10. 14, 18. So same thing, 18. No modifier to the dice roll. So they're on the 16 column. 2 because it's plus 2 because it's a wooden building. So that's 8. So that's a 10. Cross-reference with the 16. Yep, still a morale check. Very lucky with that. Alright, so they're both at a 7. So if you fail it, you're wiped out, it says. So shooting weak guys. So that passed. And the other guy, they both passed. However, they get a desperation morale. And you get a desperation morale because you just got shot at. And you get marked with a final defensive fire phase. Whew. Okay. Then we do advancing fire, so the people that moved can shoot. Ah, wait a minute. Who did they shoot at? Did they fire? Oh yeah, because they rolled with the machine gun and they rolled bad. Okay, well, oh, I forgot to double the firepower. Ooh, I sure did. I don't remember what I rolled. Let's see. I forgot that. It's double firepower because they are adjacent. So they'd actually be rolling on the 12 column. What'd they roll? I don't remember. Let's roll again. Oh, it's a 10. That sounds about right. And they're in the building. I got to add 3. Add 2 because the leader subtracts 1 from that. So that would actually be 12. 12 on the 12 is still a nothing. So I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, but still nothing happened. So that actually worked out very well for these folks. But they have 12 firepower because there's 3 447s, so that's 12 firepower. However, because they moved, it's half. So they're rolling on the 6 column and adding 3 for the stone building. So for them, that's not bad. That's going to be a 7 on the 6 column. That might actually be something. It is. It's a morale check. All right, what do we got in here? Yeah, just that squad and that leader. So the leader is just a morale check. So he's got to roll an 8, which he gets, a 7. Now the squad, because the leader has a -1, that means they have to roll under 8, and they pass. So didn't quite soften them up the way they were hoping. I don't have an advanced fire phase, an advanced fire marker, so I'm just going to have to remember they fired. Let's see here, advancing, yeah, then after the advancing fire phase, all the fire markers come off. Okay, I can remember that. Then they fired. That's it. Oh, they moved. They can go ahead and fire. So they are only 12, so it's a 6. So they're going to add 3 to their roll and check, 8 plus 3 is 9, and they're on the 6 column. Yeah, that's nothing. Alright, well, they fired. Okay, so that would be all the way up to advancing fire phase. Then we're going to check the routing phase real quick here. Well, they do have a... well, never mind. Before I start overlooking things here. So we'll take all the fire markers off. Let's see here. Yeah, that stays. Desperation morale stays because they're being shot at. I'm not very good with tweezers. I keep knocking these stacks over. Alright, here we go. Prep fire all removed. Defensive fire all removed. Since I did move them, I'm just going to go ahead and flip them back to normal. I guess I could do that like during rally or something because there's Nothing else to do right now. Okay, so now remember, since I'm just kind of playing with squad leader rules, I do know in advanced squad leader there's like your ELR ratings and things like that. If you fail by certain morale, then you might break and get like half squads and things like that. Got it, sorta. I understand there's a concept for that, but none of that's in squad leader, so we're just moving people and shooting them. Alright, so with that is the route phase. So you can voluntarily route, which they're going to move further away, and they got up to 4 movement points. So we saw Woods was, what did it say? Woods was a movement penalty of 2 movement factors, and they're going to go ahead and move into this wooden building. So line of sight, check, blocked, gone. So they're good. Routing. These guys are going to route 1, 2, 3 into a stone building. There is line of sight here, but they have very short range, so they can't reach. So they're out of danger for the moment. Okay, that nobody's broken here, so nobody has to route there. Okay, they survived. Then it would be the advance phase. Now we survived the onslaught. I was hoping they could weaken them up a bit, but they'll go ahead and go in there for the fight. And do I want anyone else to advance? I think we'll wait to advance. We'll just leave it there. Well, here, they'll advance, because that way then they can be backup if needed. They're not really doing anything right now. These guys could probably start to advance down since he kind of moved back a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and advance because we're gonna overwhelm him and take that building. And we're going to go here. And they're fine. Don't come out. Alright, we're going to say that the advance phase is done. Now we will close combat. Let's see here. Trying to pick that stack up. Of course, that never works the way I want. So what's in here? It's like open up a pinata. Now, with the close combat, trying to remember here. I don't remember if you get to use your support weapons in the close combat. Or like you could use like light or something like that. I don't think I can use the heavy machine gun in the close combat. And that's what I'm trying to remember. So it's an alternate type of fighting. We got that. It's considered simultaneous. Got it. Close combat. The firepower factors of attacking units are compared to the firepower factor of enemy units being attacked in order to arrive at a ratio. You may divide your close combat attacks in any manner you wish, so as long as no unit attacks more than once per close combat phase. You may attack all or some of the enemy units in the hex. Oh, really? You may combine all your close combat into one attack, or break it down into smaller combats. Really? Oh, all close combat attacks must be designated prior. Oh, okay. So I can make a big one, small one. Okay, so LMGs are the only support weapons which can be used in close combat. They add to the firepower of an attacking unit, but are not included in the firepower of a defending unit when determining close. Oh, in the attacker, but not defender. Well, okay. And then the leadership modifier of each leader in the same hex may be applied to one pre-designated close combat dice roll. Well, I've only got one. There's only one squad there for the German player anyway, and the German player is going to attack maybe one enemy squad in return. So instead of trying to kill the whole stack, we're going to try maybe kill one squad in there. Alright, well let's see how this works out. So we can't use the heavy machine gun, so it's just a 4 firepower. So the attacker, that's the Soviet player, or Russian there, right? He's the one who advanced in, so he's the attacker, I'm assuming. Is going to be 12 to 4. That's 3 to 1 odds, right? That sounds pretty devastating. 3 to 1. 3-1 for the Russian player. Yeah, so he's going to kill on a 8 or less. Boy, okay. I think those Germans are pretty much gone. Let's see what happens here. Well, they rolled a 10. All right. Oh, the German player lives to fight another day. And in just that, he's going to do on the 1 to 3 odds, right? Because it kind of reverses. However, I don't see a 1 to 3. So he's got 4, and they've got 12. I figured it'd just be the reverse. So do I go to 1 to 4, or do I do 1 to 2? Well, if I just go for one squad, like instead of trying to kill the whole stack, wait a minute, yeah. Instead of trying to kill the whole stack, why don't we just go 1 to 1 odds and try to kill off one squad, which means I need a 5. So not very good odds. Yeah, they don't get it. Well, I really thought the Soviet player had a really good chance there. Okay, well, since that ended like that, I do believe they are stuck in melee, so we can just whoop, put that there. No Soviet player can come in because that's full, and no German player. Well, I could actually move some German units in there because there's only one squad. I could reinforce that. But well, let's go ahead and end it there. I'll tell you what. The game, I still think it plays pretty good. Even if you just boil it down to the most basic of elements, you can still play and have an enjoyable experience. I'm liking this. I didn't think I would ever like the fact that the counters are so small and you play on a tiny map. But let me tell you something. This is great for small table spaces. I never thought I would enjoy that. And the fact that you're like right here, it feels like you're just like really right there studying the fight. I still actually do prefer games with much larger counters. It's so much easier for me to read. But, you know, for this experience, when you just remind yourself, this is the epitome of retro gaming, you know, this works out pretty well. So I'm going to leave this here because I think I can play on this some more tomorrow. I'm going to leave it here for now. So yeah, anyway, there's some basic squad leader type rules using my advanced squad leader components, and I'm enjoying it. And one day maybe we'll add in some advanced elements. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video, whatever that might be.